Another day, another instance where Dynasty keeps it a buck hunted. Keeping it real. What up? Your boy Dynasty back again with another Mortal Kombat 1 MK Uno video because you guys do know yesterday we discussed the alleged, supposed Mortal Kombat 1 roster based on not one, not two, but three credible sources that we broke down in its entirety yesterday. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, long story short, there's been a few leakers who have some credibility who came out and pieced together the 19 character roster that we talked about yesterday. However, I mentioned in my video yesterday as well that that information was about 4 or 5 days old. It had already been covered by IGN, GameSpot, comicbook.com, you name it. Everyone talked about it, and since then, things have slowly evolved because science, and since then, we now know that, seemingly, this is the roster for MK1, including the DLC characters. Now, how did we get to this point? Well, it turns out that there was somebody that goes by the name of Diamond Vision who posted on Discord, I believe it was on the 10th of May, so over a month ago, the exact same 19 characters that we talked about yesterday that were confirmed by Roar, and an additional 4 characters. Now, who are these 4 new characters featured in this guy who called the entire 19 plus 4? Baraka, Rain, Garrus, and Shao Kahn, but not typical Shao Kahn. Apparently, it's being dubbed General Shao Kahn. So when you piece together those 4, and you add the Combat Pack DLC roster that got leaked about 4 weeks ago, this is the MK1 roster. This is it. Now, the only thing we're missing are those final 2 spots underneath Rain and Sindel where you get to see the question marks. Now, as for who those 2 final spots are, guys, I do not know. Some people are suggesting that maybe, just maybe, it belongs to Kameo fighters Sonya Blade and Kano, which could definitely make some sense, especially because recently we've seen Ed Boon come out and mention in interview after interview after interview how during the early stages of Mortal Kombat 1 development, they were trying to give Sonya Blade a drone of some kind. Obviously, she has a drone. That kind of would mean that she has the ability, which would mean that she could possibly be an actual playable character, not just a cameo. Now, also worth noting that the only 2 characters missing from the iconic MK1 roster are, you guessed it, Kano and Sonya Blade, with us not getting Cassie Cage. Kind of also makes sense to get some Sonya Blade. Kano, on the other hand, I'm 50-50 on. I don't know about Kano. What's a Mortal Kombat game without Kano? It rarely ever happens, especially when there's no Kira to be seen here. So Kano being there alongside Sonya Blade isn't too far-fetched. However, if you keep in mind that Ed Boon did come out a few days ago and mention that we would be seeing some new characters in some capacity in Mortal Kombat 1, he didn't 110% confirm they'd be new characters on the game's base roster. Maybe it's the Great Kung Lao? Devil's Advocate would say, well, you could just give Kung Lao a Great Kung Lao skin, which again would make some sense. So maybe it's just a new character in its entirety. Every new Mortal Kombat game, we get at least one new character, and it could very well be a character that doesn't even exist in the Mortal Kombat lore at this point in time. It could be someone completely new. It seems like maybe one of those spots belongs to Sonya Blade, and the other potentially belongs to the Great Kung Lao, Kano, or a new character that we've never seen before. So this is pretty interesting stuff. And before you say, Dynasty, should we believe this guy? Again, I think so, just because they posted this message. Again, Diamond Vision posted this list of characters on the MK1 roster over a month ago. And again, it was the 19 characters featured in yesterday's video, plus the additional 4 of Garrus, Rain, General Shao, and Baraka. So it kind of all makes sense. It kind of just gets pieced together like really well. And guys, if this is our Mortal Kombat 1 roster, I gotta keep it real again and just be honest. This might be the greatest Mortal Kombat roster of all time. Now, I mentioned that in the video yesterday, and people were like,
Cap, how could you say that? These characters suck.
no. The depth and the amounts of just returning characters that we haven't seen in so long, and fan favorites, and you throw in the DLC as well with Quan Chi, Ermac, Takeda, Shang Tsung, the guest. It's a very well-rounded roster. Now, the only thing we're really truly missing is a Cyber Ninja. There's no Sector, there's no Cyrax, there's no Triborg. So the only thing that I think could be added to make this game even a bit spicier and more hyped would be a Cyber Ninja. Other than that, dare I say, this is the perfect Mortal Kombat roster. So, again, everything we're discussing right now is all alleged information. By no means is this 110% confirmed. At the very least, the 19 characters we talked about yesterday seem to be 19 characters, no matter what, that will be featured in Mortal Kombat 1. The additional 4 from today, again, were posted a month ago with those 19. Safe to say that 2 is probably real. Things are always subject to change, but if I was a betting man, I'd say this is legit. Now, there's also a rumor going around that the final 2 spots on this roster, the base roster, were meant to be Quan Chi and Ermac. Now, if you keep in mind, Ed Boon confirmed that we will be having these NPC cameo fighters in the story mode. And it's not out of character for NetherRealm Studios to have these, like, character appearances in the story mode that end up not being fully fledged playable characters. Well, apparently, these guys were gonna be in the story mode, and now they'll probably be NPCs for now, and eventually will be DLC. Apparently, they were switched from the base roster to the combat pack. So, because of that, we don't know who these other 2 characters are. If they weren't switched and thrown into the combat pack DLC for, like, marketing reasons and for sales, which is, again, an alleged rumor, we would know the entire base roster and not know the DLC. But then we would know the DLC because if it got leaked, then we would have known the entire roster. So, if they don't swap out Ermac and Quan Chi, who have been heavily teased by even recently Ed Boon mentioning that Shang Tsung kind of teams up with somebody and maybe it's the Deadly Alliance again, don't be surprised if during the story mode for MK1, MK Uno, we see the likes of Ermac and Quan Chi playing a vital role, but again, they're going to be relegated as maybe just small cameo appearances, and eventually be fully fledged out as full-blown characters through DLC. So that's another situation that's kind of been speculated and talked about for a while now. I'm catching up with all these leaks. Believe it or not, your boy really was trying to stay away from leaks. I did know about the leaked DLC characters the day it happened because everybody spammed my Twitter feed and my inbox, and that was pretty much unavoidable. But when it comes to, like, the actual alleged leaks, like the full-blown roster and stuff, I've been keeping super low-key because I was trying my best to be on that straight and narrow, and I'm getting a kick at all the comments in the comment section from yesterday's video being like, Dynasty put up a front, look at him, complains about not being flown out to Los Angeles, then comes out and leaks the entire roster. You know what's interesting, though, is the fact that your boy didn't talk about the leaked DLC characters up until now, and they've been around for about a month. And again, GameSpot talked about it, comicbook.com talked about it, IGN talked about it. It was publicized everywhere. Everywhere. On YouTube, literally everywhere. And even creators who got flown out to Los Angeles showed the screenshots of the whole leak from Amazon and still got flown out. So I mentioned in passing that I was blacklisted from WB events, and people are like, well, that's why, man, because you leaked the roster. Well, if that's the case, then why did certain other characters, like, I say characters, certain other YouTubers, creators, break down the leak and still get flown out? You know what I mean? This isn't sour grapes. It is what it is. At the end of the day, I understand this is a business. Not everyone fits into a box. I definitely probably don't fit into a box. It's nothing personal. But at this point, I just had to talk about this because I'm a Mortal Kombat fan. At the end of the day, it's my job to give you guys the news, and staying coy and quiet, trying to get on their good side would have probably not changed anything, because even if I didn't talk about this, guys, I could honestly say I don't think the relationship would have gotten better. So, hate me for it, get mad at me for it. I did say I did not want to cover this stuff, and again, keep in mind, this is alleged information that coincidentally seems to be real. By no means am I leaking screenshots from NetherRealm Studios monitor, you know, not doing that. I'm not doing that. This is all just information that coincidentally has been accurate and correct so far from people who have called out things that ended up happening. So things are always subject to change. Technically speaking, it's not even a real leak, because again, it's just hearsay. It's information that's just becoming legit. And things can always change. For all I know, they scrap half this roster. I look stupid in a month. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to say that for people saying, oh, well, you keep covering leaks, you're never going to cater to you guys. I could have just not talked about this and nothing would have changed. So how could I not share with you this information? By no means am I trying to spoil anything. It's already been out there. If you look just a little bit, you'll see this has been out here for about 3 days now. 4 days probably too. So it is what it is. Going back to the actual roster though, I do like it a lot. I am excited to see the likes of, you know, Rain. I think Rain might play a vital role in the story, with this being, again, a telling of Outworld. A lot of Adenians in here. I think it would be really nice to see Rain actually have a pivotal role in the story mode, going back to like the days of like MKX. I did enjoy the cutscenes of Rain in that game, so I'm excited to see Rain do something in this game and not just be relegated to being DLC again. As for Baraka, I'm hoping he doesn't just get killed. You know, if he doesn't get killed, and in the same vein of Reptile, I hope he doesn't just become a lackey and get bossed around and ultimately lead to meaningless side quest. As for General Shao, I do think that's interesting because obviously seems like Melina is in line to take the throne from Sindel. Maybe Sindel dies in the campaign, the story mode, maybe Queen Melina happens, and if that's the case, there's no Shao Kahn ruling Outworld, and he's just relegated to being a general of the army, which is interesting because what's Raiko doing? You know what I mean? Is he commanding another army for someone else? Is he a good guy this time? That's what I think is really intriguing, the dynamic that potentially we're to see Shao Kahn and mini Shao Kahn on the same roster. It's not happened outside of Armageddon, so that intrigues me to see that power balance. If they faced off, that'd be cool. Hell, if they worked together, that would be cool. So I am really intrigued to see that. Garrus coming back makes sense. I mentioned in the video from yesterday, Ed Boon's come out and mentioned how we will be getting the representation of every Mortal Kombat game dating back to the OG days, all the way up into recently, the modern timeline with MK9, 10, 11. We were missing a Mortal Kombat 11 character in between Cetrion, Collector, and Garrus. I do think Garrus also has a lot to offer, especially because Boon's also mentioned that it seems like Liu Kang might not be the only person aware of the events taking place. What if Garrus is being somehow sent by Kronika from the previous timeline, and he's like, oh, hey Liu, I like this new era you got going on. Maybe I'm going to just keep fighting you to bring back Kronika's timeline, even though Kronika's nowhere to be found. So I think that is a very interesting role for Garrus to have in the story for MK1, which is exciting. I like Garrus, man. I like Mr. Frankenstein with sand. I like it. So yeah, essentially every person we're getting, I could definitely see having a pivotal role in the MK1 story plot. So I cannot wait to get my hands on this game. I want to see a story trailer so bad, but you guys know usually they won't drop that until we're a few weeks out from the release. So that's all we got for y'all today. Another MK1 roster video. Again, by no means is this 110% concrete proof that this is going to happen, but based on information we're getting so far, this appears to be our Mortal Kombat 1 roster along with the DLC characters. Takeda, Quan Chi, Ermac, Shang Tsung, of course, are 3 guest characters. Guys, I ask you, If this is the Mortal Kombat 1 roster, what are your thoughts on Mortal Kombat 1 based on this roster? Who do you think those final 2 spots will belong to? Do you think it's a clear-cut favorite to see Sonya Blade come back? Will it be Jade? She is referenced in a character intro. Maybe it's Jade. Is it Kano? Is it the Great Kung Lao? Or again, is it just going to be an entirely new character that doesn't even exist up until, well, this timeline in this game? Of course, if you guys did enjoy the video, if you could, please take 1 second and please drop a like on it. Again, shout out to everybody who's been talking about this shit online and on forums. So Roar, Fate Unknown, Diamond Vision, Thinny. I appreciate everybody's trying to piece this together because we're all just hyped for MK1, and the more the merrier, you know what I mean? It's a roster. This always happens. It's par for the course. Hell, Ed Boon pretty much memed that this is going to happen, and well, potentially it might have happened. So now we're talking about it. But guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart for supporting the channel. The feedback has been really positive, and I'm glad to know that I can sit down and just talk about Mortal Kombat despite the hurdles of, you know, not having that working relationship. It is what it is. Again, it's not sour grapes. I understand. I know probably why it happened. I'm sure the leaks didn't help me back then, but it just comes down to a few other things, and I think it's pretty obvious. Some people don't like me, and it's not necessarily even the publishers. It might be some creators, but regardless, I love you guys. Thank you for everything you do for me. You're the best, and Mortal Kombat 1's dropping September 19th, and this might be the roster we get when the game comes out. And again, I'm going to say it. This is probably the best Mortal Kombat roster we've had in a long time. A long, long, long time. And by the way, Lee May is here. Your boy was editing this video, and I say this video, I mean yesterday's video, at like 3 a.m., and I threw Katana on there because I'm barely getting my vision back. I had one eye for a week. I grabbed Purple Girl, and it was the wrong Purple Girl. So people were memeing the fact that I had 2 katanas. And they were calling me not a real Mortal Kombat fan. Fuck it, Al. The internet, you love to see it. Anyways, hopefully this roster has no hiccups like that. But yeah, I love you guys. Thank you for everything. Until next time, been your host, Boon Dynasty. You guys, please take care, stay safe. I got your back always with the MK1 coverage. Love you guys. Thank you for everything. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Living on it crack, but I'm not superstitious. Count all these racks, I'll be steady, counting my digits. Slipping on it crack.